Ever pondered over the implications of a government's control over birth rates and gender dynamics? Today we delve into the intriguing and complex world of China's population control policies. In the late 1940s, China, a nation of nearly 500 million people, faced a population crisis. The government, in its quest for economic prosperity, encouraged families to have more children. Over the next 2 decades, the population nearly doubled, creating an unprecedented strain on resources. To combat this, in the late 1970s, we saw the introduction of the infamous one-child policy. This policy restricted most Chinese families to 1 child, with hefty penalties for those who disobeyed. This policy led to a significant drop in birth rate. However, it also resulted in unintended consequences. A traditional preference for male children, combined with the one-child policy, led to a surge in sex-selective abortions and even infanticide of female infants. This resulted in a disturbing gender imbalance, with millions more men than women. In the early 21st century, the Chinese government began to notice the implications of this gender imbalance. It was not only a human rights issue, but also a potential economic and social disaster. Thus, they phased out the one-child policy, replacing it in 2016 with a 2-child policy. Despite this, the preference for male children persisted, and the gender imbalance grew. The government recognized this issue and has begun to take steps to address it. In the last few years, they've started to implement policies aimed at eliminating the gender bias in births. They've also adopted measures to promote gender equality, such as stricter laws against sex-selective abortions and infanticide. And now we're seeing the Chinese government taking another drastic step, a shift from controlling births to encouraging them. Faced with an aging population and declining birth rates, they've introduced a 3-child policy in 2021. They're not only allowing but actively promoting families to have more children. To summarize, we've journeyed from a China encouraging population growth in the 1940s through decades of strict population control and gender imbalance to a China now promoting births and striving for gender equality. This is a fascinating study of how a government's policies can dramatically shape a nation's demographic landscape. It's a reminder of the power that policies wield, the unintended consequences they can have, and the intricate balancing act required to manage a nation's population. As we move forward, it will be interesting to see how these policies evolve and what impact they will have on the future of China's population. So stay tuned, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of policy and governance.